on planet Earth. 2 months after Son Goku and Vegeta's battle against Broly, it was possible to see that the two Saiyans training with Whis on a private island of Bulma, where she had bought so that the two Saiyans could face each other without anyone seeing or hurting anyone in the process. The reason why Goku and Vegeta trained so much during the last 2 months was the lack of strength, because when they saw Broly, who was a Saiyan who barely trained or had real battles, Broly still faced the two Saiyans and humiliated them, causing Goku and Vegeta to be forced to merge and become a new warrior named Gogeta. And with this fusion, finally Broly was defeated. But this was something else that made the two Saiyans very euphoric because of Broly's strength, making Goku and Vegeta train even more intensely than they already had. After a few hours of training, finally the two Saiyans and the angel Whis had finally finished training and were currently eating some typical foods from various countries as well as other goodies. Whis said, "As always, the food of the land are very delicious, especially this barbecue thing," said the angel while looking at Bulma. Bulma said, "Yes, this barbecue is really delicious. It was made by one of my cooks who came from Brazil," said the woman while looking back where one of the cooks was very happy for her typical food from her country. It pleased the taste of so much Bulma and Whis. Beerus said, "I have to admit, this food is really delicious. Congratulations to the cook," said the god of destruction while eating the food, until he looked at Vegeta, who was acting in a strange way. Beerus said, "What happened, Vegeta? Don't tell me you're still remembering the fight with Broly," asked the god of destruction while looking at the Prince of Saiyans. Whis said, "True. You're very strange these days, Mr. Vegeta. What exactly happened for you to be this way?" asked the angel to Vegeta. Vegeta said, "It's not something very important, but after this fight with Broly, the day when Kakarot became a god and fought Beerus-sama," said the Prince of Saiyans while looking at Goku, who was now stopped from eating to pay attention to Vegeta's lines. Goku said, "The day I became a god? But what does that have to do with Broly?" the Saiyan asked his rival, who soon answered him. Vegeta said, "Simple. Broly has an amazing power and transformation, so much so that he really deserves the title of legendary Super Saiyan, and it reminded me of Shenron, who talked about the first Saiyan to become a Super Saiyan god," the prince said of the Saiyans thoughtfully, but soon Beerus ended up changing his re-released expression to a more serious one. Beerus said, "Bulma, do you have the 7 Dragon Balls?" asked the god of destruction to Bulma, who was a little more surprised than replied. Bulma said, "Well, I only have 4 of the 7 with me right now, but why do you want to use them?" the woman asked Beerus. Beerus said, "I want to know something, and Shenron must be useful at least to answer that," the god of destruction spoke to the woman. Beerus said, "Vegeta, get the dragon radar and go after the other Dragon Balls now." The god of destruction spoke in a more authoritative tone, and soon Vegeta took the dragon's radar and went in search of the other Dragon Balls. 1 hour later. After an hour, it was possible to see Vegeta with the last Dragon Balls in his hands, and then Bulma entered and took the other Dragon Balls to summon Shenron and solve Beerus' doubt that he hadn't said anything so far. Bulma said, "Shenron, appear and fulfill my wishes," said the woman, invoking Shenron, making the sky of the place go completely dark, with thunder falling all over the land, and soon a huge golden glow appeared. In it, Shenron appeared. Shenron said, "What do you need this time?" asked the dragon as he looked around at everyone in the place and got a little scared by the presence of Beerus and Whis. Beerus said, "This time, the one who wants something from you is me, Shenron," the god of destruction spoke, approaching Shenron, who was a little surprised and in shock. Shenron spoke, "What does Beerus-sama want? I will do my best to grant your wish." The dragon spoke in the most respectful tone possible to Beerus. Beerus said, "Who was the first Saiyan to become a god, and is he still alive?" Beerus asked Shenron, making everyone surprised by Beerus' question. Shenron said, "His name is Yamoshi. He was a Saiyan with an incredible level of power who was able to do great deeds in his time, and maybe even our era in the present day he would. When planet Vegeta was dominated by the evil Saiyans, he became a Super Saiyan god and defeated them all, and years later, he ended up becoming a god again. Only this time he didn't need to do the ritual to become a god." The dragon spoke, leaving everyone impressed by Yamoshi being so strong in his time. Goku said, So this Yamoshi was very strong at the time, and he even managed to transform into a Super Saiyan God without needing the ritual like Vegeta, said the Saiyans, looking at his rival Vegeta. Vegeta said, "Really? But now be quiet and pay attention to Yamoshi's story," said the Saiyan Prince while looking at Goku, telling him to be quiet so he can pay more attention to Yamoshi's story. Beerus said, "Really? He seems to be strong. But now answer me, is he still alive?" asked the God of Destruction while looking seriously at Shenron. Shenron said, "Yes, Sir Beerus. Yamoshi still lives." The dragon spoke, leaving everyone shocked. By Yamoshi, the one who became a legend for the Saiyans, was still alive. Beerus spoke. "It's like I thought. He's still alive. So where is he?" asked the God of Destruction while looking at Shenron. Shenron spoke. "He's currently sealed away on a faraway planet." The dragon spoke as he looked at everyone in the place. Vegeta said, "How was such a powerful being sealed away? That would be an unlikely thing to happen." Speaking of the Saiyan Prince, still not sure who was responsible for sealing Yamoshi. Shenron said, "Simple. At the time that Yamoshi was sealed, he was in a war where he fought alone and won. But in a last act of desperation, his enemies, they created a portal and sealed him in a parallel world, where he lives until nowadays. And even though he was sealed, Yamoshi didn't get weak. On the contrary, he became even stronger than he was before," said the dragon while looking at everyone who was surprised by Yamoshi, and he is still alive and has gotten stronger even though he was sealed. But at that moment, Beerus started laughing, attracting everyone's attention to the place. Beerus said, "If he's still alive, then that only means one thing. You know what that is, right, Whis?" asked the God of Destruction as he looked at the angel, who had understood Beerus's laughter. Whis said, "It means that the Saiyan you saw in your prophetic dreams was not Lord Goku, but Yamoshi. So the warrior who can defeat you, Lord Beerus, is sealed at that moment," said the angel while looking at Beerus. But soon Shenron spoke and said, "He is sealed, but not for long." The dragon spoke, attracting the attention of everyone in the place. Bulma said, "What do you mean by that, Shenron?" the woman asked while looking at Shenron. Shenron said, "Frieza. He was looking for the knowledge of the Saiyans to come up with a plan to face the Saiyans, and during this search for information, he found the place where Yamoshi had been killed. But that place is actually where Yamoshi is sealed, and as it should. Knowing that Frieza will end up doing something, so Yamoshi will come back to this world," spoke the dragon, leaving everyone in shock. Vegeta said, "As always, the fault of a new ally or enemy will be because of that damn Frieza," said Vegeta, angrily remembering Frieza, who always causes problems for them. On a faraway planet. On a planet light years from Earth, it was possible to see Frieza and his soldiers walking through a tunnel full of statues of Saiyans who were the strongest of their ages. Frieza said, "Seeing statues with so many Saiyans like this is already making me shiver with disgust," said Frieza, while he was in his vehicle floating around the place. Frieza's soldiers said, "Master Frieza found something that might be of interest to him," said one of the Frieza's soldiers, arriving at the place and kneeling before his emperor. Frieza said, "Okay, show me what it is," said Frieza to his soldier, who then got up and guided his emperor to a hidden room where there were some types of energy pillars that were preventing them from entering. And that energy was being thrown at the center of the place, where in that center there was a spear that was draining all that energy. Frieza's advisor spoke. "What should we do now, Emperor Frieza?" asked Frieza's counselor. Frieza said, "Destroy these crystals. Maybe this sphere is holding a big secret, a secret that can be used to defeat Son Goku, Vegeta, and Broly," ordered Frieza to his soldiers, who soon did what was ordered. After the destruction of the energy pillars, soon the sphere that was in the center started to glow, and from that glow, cracks started to appear around the black sphere, and suddenly an explosion occurred, making everyone go blind for a few seconds. And finally, after a few seconds, it was possible to see a man with a monkey tail being a Saiyan like Goku and Vegeta, but he was much stronger than them. The one who just woke up was Yamoshi, the first Saiyan to become a god, in the Saiyan Temple. Currently, it was possible to see Frieza and his soldiers looking at the center of that place, where there was a black sphere. But now inside, there was a Saiyan who appeared to have great power, something that made Frieza look with a great curiosity at the Saiyan. Frieza thought, "That aura,
that is coming out of him is very impressive, an aura made of pure power. Who is that Saiyan?
Emperor Frieza wondered as he looked at the Saiyan in front of him. Then they looked better at the Saiyan who just appeared in that place after the explosion. All Frieza's soldiers were on alert, as well as Frieza himself, who was ready to start a battle right there. After a few seconds, the Saiyan finally opens his eyes, and that was enough to make all the Frieza soldiers very scared, and make Frieza himself feel a shiver down his spine because of the assassin aura that was emanating from the Saiyan's body. The mysterious Saiyan said, "Who are you, and where am I?" asked the Saiyan in his cold voice, without a shred of emotion, as he looked at the Frieza soldiers, who mostly couldn't even breathe in the presence of that Saiyan. Frieza's advisor said, "We are members of Lord Frieza's army, and the place where you are is called the Tomb of the Saiyan Emperors, a place where the greatest kings of the Saiyans were buried," said Frieza's advisor, while looking at the Saiyan in her front that stared at her coldly, but she didn't even care about the Saiyan's cold eyes in front of her. Mysterious Saiyan said, "Wow, you are really someone of courage. Looking at me like that and not showing even an ounce of fear or anguish, that is something really impressive," said the Saiyan while looking at Frieza's counselor, who was staring at him now with a small smile on her face. Frieza's advisor said, "I appreciate your praise, sir. For the aura that you emanate from your body, you are a great warrior. And for the tail you possessed, I would say you are a Saiyan, am I right?" The mysterious Saiyan said, "That's right. I am a Saiyan, and my name is Yamoshi," said the Saiyan while looking at Frieza's counselor. The moment Frieza and his advisor heard the Saiyan's name, they were very impressed, because in front of them was the one who had become a legend of the Saiyans, Yamoshi being the first Saiyan to become a god and defeat a legion of evil Saiyans that were threatening the destruction of planet Vegeta at that time. Frieza said, "Yamoshi, the one who was able to become a Super Saiyan god and defeat a legion of evil Saiyans that were threatening to destruction of planet Vegeta?" asked Frieza to make sure the one in front of him was the real Yamoshi. Yamoshi said, "Wow, did I get that famous? From what I remember back in my day, I wasn't a legend. But from what you've said now, I'm the Yamoshi you're talking about. It's myself," said Yamoshi, surprised to have become so famous since the last time he saw someone. Yamoshi said, "And now I want to know, who are you and why you are in this place?" asked the Saiyan while looking with his cold eyes and without any feeling at Frieza, who for a few seconds felt the fear of death. Frieza thought, "What was that? I felt the fear of death just by looking into the Saiyan's eyes," thought Frieza, clearly annoyed that he felt the fear of death when looking into Yamoshi's eyes. Frieza said, "I am Emperor Frieza, and these are my soldiers. We are looking for a way to defeat one of my arch enemies, and we ended up finding this place. And we saw some energy pillars that threw this energy to a black sphere. And this sphere trains that energy, and for that reason I ordered my soldiers to destroy those pillars. And when that happened, the sphere started to crack, and from it you appeared," spoke Frieza while looking at Yamoshi, who after Frieza's speech put his hand on his chin, showing that he was thinking about something. Yamoshi spoke, "Emperor Frieza, an Arcosian, self-titled an emperor. That's unexpected," said the Saiyan in a sarcastic tone, while staring at Frieza, who was now surprised by the Saiyan's absence. Frieza said, "How do you know I'm an Arcosian? Did you by any chance meet an Arcosian in your day?" asked Frieza while looking at Yamoshi, who started laughing when hearing Frieza's speech. Yamoshi said, "Do I know an Arcosian? But of course I know. After all, I was the one who destroyed your home planet," said Yamoshi with a predatory smile while looking at Frieza, who was startled to hear such words as well as his soldiers. Frieza thought, "So he was the one who destroyed planet Xeno millions of years ago. He is the reason why my father and I had to destroy the Saiyans, and because of him, I destroyed planet Vegeta for fear of someone like him being born again. But even so, that damn Son Goku was born. Apart from all that, I was one of the last, if not the last Arcosian, who almost died at the hands of that Son Goku worm." The Arcosian thought, very angry at Son Goku, and now at Yamoshi. Yamoshi said, "If I remember correctly, you Arcosians thought you were the strongest race in the entire universe. and you always despised us, the Saiyans. But during the war, the Arcosians tried to destroy us, the Saiyans. But I myself destroyed all the elite Arcosians, and finally, I destroyed your home planet. I remember that day very well, said the Saiyan while facing Frieza, who was clearly very angry with Yamoshi's provocation. Frieza said, "What the hell? I will kill you myself, and I will recover the title of the strongest race in the universe. Even though you are a legend, I will eliminate you, and then I will kill that damn Son Goku," speaks Frieza, emanating his full rage power. Soon Frieza came down from his transport and started to raise his power. Soon his body started to glow golden, and after a few seconds Frieza had his body completely golden. That being the golden Frieza from the strongest form that Frieza had so far. That moment, Frieza said, "Fear before the power of the golden Frieza. Now I will show you how we Arcosians are the strongest, especially stronger than you Saiyans, the stupid worms in the entire universe," spoke Frieza, now in his golden form, while striking a pose with open arms. Yamoshi spoke. "A transformation that has divine power. Impressive. Your power, I must say, but it's still very weak, and just to show your weakness, I'll let you land the first blow," said Yamoshi, leaving his guard open for Frieza to attack him. While Yamoshi was still, Frieza concentrated all his power in his fist and advanced towards Yamoshi, hitting him with a very strong blow to the face of the Saiyan, who didn't even move. This surprised everyone at the place. Yamoshi said, "Is that all the power of an Arcosian who has divine power? Pathetic," said the Saiyan while facing Frieza, who was now very afraid of Yamoshi because he didn't even move or feel his blow. Yamoshi said, "Now allow me to show you the power of a stupid worm, or at least a fraction of it," said the Saiyan while facing Frieza, who upon hearing that immediately moved away from Yamoshi. But that wasn't enough, because Yamoshi instantly appeared in front of Frieza with a small amount of ki in his fist, and with a mere light punch, he made the Arcosian cross the temple, and in a mere instant, Frieza was already in the atmosphere of the temple planet where they were. Yamoshi said, "What do you think of the powers of a stupid worm? It seems your power is a long way from mine, you idiot gecko," said the Saiyan, immediately giving a small slap in the face of Frieza, causing him to be thrown with extreme violence on the ground of that planet. The moment Frieza fell to the ground, it was possible to see a huge crater, and in the center was Frieza's body with serious injuries and passed out, and because of that, his golden Frieza transformation disappeared. Yamoshi said, "How boring. I hope I have other strong warriors in this universe. And who is that Son Goku that this gecko was talking about? From the way he said, he must be a Saiyan. I think I'll go after him," said the Saiyan, soon flying out of that place, leaving Frieza in a semi-dead state, and his army of Frieza is there paralyzed with extreme fear of Yamoshi. Frieza unintentionally ended up waking up a living legend, a being whose strength must match that of a god of destruction. Yamoshi, the first Saiyan to become a god, and the strongest legend of Saiyans, had been reborn again, and now he would go in search of one opponent at his height. Currently flying through the vacuum of space, it was possible to see Yamoshi, who after being freed by Frieza's actions, was looking for a planet where he once lived, while he was still walking through that universe. Yamoshi thought, "I should go to where planet Vegeta is. Well, I was, since that gecko destroyed it years ago. I think I'd better go to that planet. I've been isolated from them for years, to my master's powers that I gained when I first turned into a god," thought Yamoshi, as he thought what he should do at that moment. Yamoshi thought, "Well, I'm going to that planet, and when I'm there, I'm going to take the opportunity to train a little, since it's been a long time since I've really fought anyone, and I don't want to be rusty when I face an opponent my height, so I better train a little," thought the Saiyan, soon flying towards the planet to be able to better control his divine powers. Yamoshi thought, on second thought, that Arcosian spoke of a warrior named Son Goku, and by the way he spoke, he must have been defeated by this warrior before, and not only that, I think he was defeated more than once. It means that this warrior must be strong. Would he be able to fight me for at least 1 minute? Well, after I train myself, I will travel to the universe in search of this warrior, and I will defeat the strongest opponents I find on my way. the Saiyan thought with an excited smile on his face, because there are other people who can use the divine power like Frieza. Yamoshi said, I just hope he's strong enough for me to use at least 20% of my power. Well, that doesn't matter now. I'm really excited to face stronger warriors now that I'm back in this world. The Saiyan spoke excitedly, and soon he started to fly even faster as he was very excited to meet really strong opponents. On planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, it was possible to see Goku and Vegeta training again, and now both were transformed into Super Saiyan Blue. The two Saiyans were training much more than usual. Neither of them knew very well, but for some reason, they felt obligated to training more than ever. For both Saiyans, it was as if their Saiyan instincts were warning them that they needed to get stronger to face a new opponent. Meanwhile, Bulma was talking to Whis and Beerus was quieter than ever and just ate the food in front of him while listening to Bulma and Whis' conversation. Bulma said, Look, I know that Goku and Vegeta like to train, but I think these last 3 days they've been training too much and are taking their battles very seriously. So much so that I have to send them both into the recovery machine to heal your wounds. And this is already making me worried. And not only me, Chi-Chi also told me that Goku is more restless than ever these last few days. Vegeta's wife spoke as she watched her husband's battle against his childhood friend. Whis said, I've noticed that too. They're taking their disputes very seriously. And it's not very normal. What do you think of that, Mr. Beerus? Asked the angel while looking at Beerus, making Bulma also look at the god of destruction, who soon decided to manifest. Beerus said, It must be because of that guy. The god of destruction spoke in a serious tone, something that made Bulma and Whis look at each other as they blinked their eyes several times quickly, showing that they were both confused. Whis said, Dude, who else are you talking about, Beerus? Asked the angel to his god of destruction. Beerus said, Yamoshi, the first Saiyan to become a god. Those two, after they heard what Shenron said about Yamoshi, they're training with everything they have, and that's because they're Saiyans, said Beerus, still watching the battle between Goku and Vegeta, and he didn't even look at Whis, and for Bulma to reply, she said, Look, I understand that they were excited to learn that there was a Saiyan with such power in ancient times, but he's currently sealed, isn't he? And even if that idiot Frieza finds where he is, I don't think he will be able to break the seal that was used to seal the Yamoshi, will he? Said the woman while looking at Whis, who then put his hand on her chin. Whis said, To be honest, I don't know. Frieza is someone who would do anything to defeat Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta. We have to remember that he allied with a Saiyan like Broly just to destroy them. So if Frieza manages to break Yamoshi's seal, only he has two options. One of them is that Yamoshi stays on Frieza's side, and that would be a big problem. And the second would be where Yamoshi didn't even care about Frieza. And with that, we would have another Saiyan who doesn't like Frieza. And that way Frieza will have another new enemy, said the angel while looking at Bulma. And then straight ahead where Goku and Vegeta were now all wet from their training as they were both in their base forms. Beerus said, Make no mistake, Whis. Yamoshi not being on Frieza's side doesn't mean he will be on our side. Now I want to know something. Did you find what I asked for? The god of destruction spoke right after looking at Whis' face, something he hasn't done since the beginning of the conversation. Whis said, And you're right. And about what you asked me I already found. The angel spoke soon, invoking his staff and looking at Beerus, who had risen and was now face to face with Whis. Beerus said, Then show me everything you found about Yamoshi. The god of destruction spoke in a much more serious tone, thus attracting the attention of not only Bulma, but also Goku and Vegeta, who were now on Bulma's side. Vegeta said, Yamoshi information? Said the Saiyan in a surprised and serious tone at the same time. Whis said, That's right. Mr. Beerus has asked me to go looking for information about Yamoshi. A few days ago, I found some things, very interesting things, that may have to do with the fact that Frieza hates you Saiyans so much, spoke the angel, leaving Goku and Vegeta, surprised that Yamoshi has everything to do with Frieza hating them so much. Goku said, Does Yamoshi have anything to do with Frieza's hatred for Saiyans? Asked the Saiyan to the angel. Whis said, Well, apparently at that time, the Yamoshi set foot in this world. There was a great war. A war that Yamoshi fought alone and was the winner. In the middle of this war, Yamoshi ended up destroying several planets, including the home of the Arcosians called planet Xeno. And by coincidence, Frieza is an Arcosian, and that's why he was so scared of you Saiyans, because the legendary Super Saiyan we know as Yamoshi destroyed all of Frieza's race. Whis spoke, revealing the fact that Yamoshi was the one who destroyed Frieza's race home planet. Vegeta said, "So Yamoshi destroyed his home world, and several years later they destroyed the Saiyans' home world. Who would say it's not?" said the Saiyan in a half-ironic tone, while looking at Whis. Whis said, "Apparently at that time, Frieza's race was the strongest, and liked to enslave the weakest, is when they came to know the Saiyans tried to enslave them. But Yamoshi and other elite Saiyan warriors of the time were strong enough to delay the conquest of the planet, and during that time, they were not attacking the evil Saiyans who allied themselves with Frieza. They tried to destroy all the Saiyans and planet Vegeta itself. And it was at this time that Yamoshi became a god for the first time," spoke the angel while looking at everyone in their place, who was surprised by the story of Yamoshi and the history of hatred between the Arcosians and the Saiyans. Vegeta said, "It seems that Arcosians and Saiyans were born to hate each other. Yamoshi made the Arcosians go extinct, and Frieza did the same thing to us. The more I find out about the past, but it seems that Frieza was seeking revenge on the Arcosians, who were killed by the hands of Yamoshi and other Saiyans," said Vegeta, while listening to all attentively. Beerus said, "I must agree with Vegeta on this one, but now I want to know something, Whis. You had told me that someone would investigate the place where Yamoshi would possibly be. Did he get anything?" asked the god of destruction while looking at the angel. Whis said, "Yes, he did, and he even sent me pictures." The angel spoke right away, making the tip of his staff glow and transmit some pictures for everyone to see. Soon the images show Frieza's soldiers inside a temple, and then a type of black spear that was being bombarded with energy by 4 pillars that soon by Frieza's orders were destroyed. Seconds after the destruction of the pillars, the black sphere in the center started to crack and suddenly exploded, and at the place of the explosion it was possible to see an older man with a monkey tail, being this the last image they had. Seeing such images, everyone already knew who that being was that had been released from the dark sphere, and everyone looked at Beerus, who ended up raising his power unconsciously. Beerus said, "Looks like Frieza really did it. He just freed Yamoshi." The god of destruction spoke in a clearly angry tone as his power of destruction was released from within his body. On planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, it was possible to see Goku and his friends looking at the holographic screen that was coming out of Whis' staff that showed the image of Yamoshi, who had been freed from his seal by Frieza's hands. As everyone watched the image of Yamoshi, Beerus, who was in the place, was also looking at the screen. He was clearly annoyed with all that, irritated to the point of releasing his power of destruction, causing the ground around him to start to be destroyed. Then Whis speaks. He says, "Mr. Beerus, calm down please," said the angel while looking at Beerus, who after taking a long heavy sigh stopped, releasing his power of destruction, causing the floor of the place to stop getting destroyed. Beerus said, "Okay, Whis." The god of destruction spoke calmer than before. Goku said, "So this is the Yamoshi guy. He seems to be very powerful," said the Saiyan while looking at the image of the first Saiyan to become a god, the true legend of Saiyans. Whis said, "That's right. That's what Yamoshi looks like, and from what I've seen, he's really powerful, and you can tell that just by his appearance and physical bearing, plus the aura that his gaze conveyed. An aura of a warrior who has seen the death more than once and survived them all," said the angel while looking at the image of Yamoshi, who really emanates an imposing aura. Goku said, "Wow, if even Mr. Whis spoke, then he really is very strong. But is he as strong as me and Vegeta?" asked the Saiyan to his rival, who was beside him while looking at the image of Yamoshi. Vegeta said, "I would really like to say that we are the strongest, but by that aura he transmits, he must be stronger than us. Yes, much stronger than us," said the Saiyan, a little indignant by the fact that he admits that Yamoshi and someone stronger than him, but at that time, a little proud to know that he's a Saiyan just like him. Goku said, "Wow, that Yamoshi must be pretty powerful for even Vegeta to admit he's strong," said the Saiyan while looking at Vegeta. Bulma said, "Are you sure this Vegeta is my husband? A proud Saiyan who would never admit that anyone is superior to him," Vegeta's wife said in a playful tone while looking at Vegeta, who was getting annoyed that his rival and his wife were making fun of what he had said. Vegeta said, "Don't get me wrong, I'm very powerful, but I know that this Yamoshi is a true living legend. He was the first of all Saiyans to transform into a Super Saiyan God, and that in itself is a reason for I have respect in him," said the Saiyan while looking at everyone in the place, who were quite surprised by the proud Saiyan's speech. Vegeta said, "And he's also a Saiyan just like me and Kakarot, as well as Broly himself. And if I have to admit that someone is stronger than me, only if it's another Saiyan, and for that reason I have to train even harder to overcome him, and become an even bigger legend than him," said the Saiyan, motivated to surpass Yamoshi, and be an even greater legend than the first Saiyan to become a god. Goku said, "Wow, if you keep talking like that, it will only make me want to become stronger, and be able to fight this Yamoshi even more, and even surpass it in the future," said the Saiyan, very excited and motivated to become stronger, just like Vegeta. Vegeta said, "But don't forget, Kakarot, the one who will become an even greater legend than Yamoshi will be me, and I will be the most powerful Saiyan in all of history. Whether in the future, past or present," said the Saiyan while looking at Goku, who just gave his classic smile to his rival Vegeta. Goku said, "No, the one who will be the strongest of all will be me, and I will be the one who will defeat Yamoshi in the future," said the Saiyan while looking at his rival. Beerus thought, "While these two are excited about Yamoshi's awakening, I, on the other hand, can't think of anything else besides that dream I had, where I had the vision that in the future, Yamoshi will be the Saiyan who will defeat me. Will it be that he comes after me, in search of the title of the God of Destruction of Universe 7? Wondered the God of Destruction as he looked at the image of Yamoshi that was still being transmitted by the staff of Whis. After a few seconds, Whis' staff began to glow several times in a row, showing that he had received a message from the person who had sent the image that showed Yamoshi's appearance. Whis said, "Looks like I just got a new message, and there's also a video, and it looks like Yamoshi and Frieza won't get along very well, ha ha ha," said the angel while looking at his staff, and then looking at everyone in the place who looked at it quickly. Beerus spoke. "What does that mean, Whis?" asked the God of Destruction while looking at the angel in front of him. Whis said, "It means that Frieza, with that pride of his, ended up losing control and went for Yamoshi, and that was his biggest mistake," said the angel, soon looking at everyone who was even more curious about what happened with Yamoshi and Frieza. Whis said, "Good for you to understand better what I'm talking about, and better for you to see for yourself," said the angel as the holographic screen that was transmitted by his staff played the video where Yamoshi had fought Frieza. In the video that Whis received from one of his contacts, spread across Universe 7, it showed the small battle between Yamoshi and Frieza, and the Saiyan didn't even try to take the battle seriously, that to him looked more like a warrior crushing an insignificant insect. In addition to the video itself, it showed that Yamoshi himself revealed that he was responsible for the destruction of the home planet of Frieza's race, something that made Vegeta smile at the thought of several beings like Frieza being erased by the hands of a Saiyan. Vegeta thought, "It's a good thing Yamoshi destroyed all those worms along with this planet, because I wouldn't want there to be other beings like Frieza roaming all over Universe 7. Vegeta thought, having shivers just thinking what would happen if Yamoshi had it not destroyed the Arcosians' home planet. There would have been many other beings like Frieza scattered across the universe. Soon the video shows Frieza in his golden form attacking Yamoshi with all his strength, but Yamoshi didn't even feel Frieza's attack, something that made Goku and Vegeta very surprised, as even the two would feel the pain that time. But Yamoshi didn't even care about the blow from Frieza. Goku said, "He received that attack from Frieza like it was nothing, and he didn't even feel the blow. He really is very strong," said the Saiyan very excitedly, while looking at the holographic screen in front of him. Vegeta said, "Impressive, Yamoshi not even being transformed. Frieza's blow was no big deal for Yamoshi," the Saiyan Prince said while looking at the holographic screen in front of him. Going back to the video, it was possible to see that now it was Yamoshi's turn to attack, and with just 2 blows he managed to defeat Frieza, leaving him in a semi-dead state, and soon he started flying out of the place. And soon after the video ended, Beerus said, "Yamoshi is strong enough to withstand Frieza's strength, and not even try to dodge, but completely opening his own guard to receive Frieza's attack. and he didn't even feel that blow, said the god of destruction while thinking at the level of power that Saiyans possessed. Whis said, "That's right, Sir Beerus, and from what he ended up sending me a new message saying that Frieza is currently in a recovery chamber, almost dead, and from what I was sent, he is between life and death," said the angel while looking to his staff, which soon glowed again, and in that moment Whis ended up seeing the message and was shocked by the message. Bulma said, "What happened, Whis? You look like you got scared when he looked at his staff," Vegeta's wife said while looking at the angel. Whis said, "And because I ended up getting another message, and it was that Yamoshi is after the Saiyans that survived, and he's after one in particular called Son Goku." The angel spoke, causing everyone to be shocked, and everyone yelled, "What?" They all shouted at the same time as they heard what Whis said. Currently on planet Earth, it was possible to see Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, Beerus, and Whis, who were very shocked by the fact that Yamoshi wanted to find the Saiyans who are still alive, and one in particular that would be Son Goku. Something everyone was wondering was what Goku did this time to make Yamoshi want to find him. Beerus said, "What did you do this time, Goku? Why does Yamoshi want to meet you?" The god of destruction asked the Saiyan, who was still in shock to learn that Yamoshi wanted to find him. Goku said, "This time I didn't do anything, and I don't know why Yamoshi would want to meet me," said the Saiyan while looking at Beerus. Whis said, "Maybe Yamoshi wants to meet you because of Frieza," said the angel, attracting the attention of everyone in the place. Vegeta said, "I don't understand. I know Frieza doesn't like Kakarot, but I don't think he would say anything about Kakarot to Yamoshi," said the Saiyan prince while looking at Whis. Whis said, "I agree with you, Mr. Vegeta, but I think Frieza, in an act of fury, ended up speaking the name of Mr. Goku, and Yamoshi, for having heard Goku's name, now he wants to find out who that person would be. And Frieza must have said that Goku is a Saiyan, so Yamoshi must want to find the Saiyan named Son Goku, who is of his race," the angel explained while looking at the Prince of Saiyan. Bulma said, "That makes sense. Frieza, whenever he's mad at Goku or Vegeta, he just says damn Saiyans. And in that speech, Yamoshi must have understood that Goku is a Saiyan who has already faced Frieza, and for that reason he wants to find Goku," said the woman while looking at everyone in the place. Goku said, "But what does he want with me and the Saiyans that still exist?" asked Goku while looking at his friends who also had the same question on their minds. Vegeta said, "Maybe it's because he's a Saiyan and wants to find other Saiyans, that's all," said the Prince of Saiyans while looking at everyone, who was a little confused by that. Goku said, "I still don't understand why he wants to find the other Saiyans who are still alive. Does he want to reunite our race?" said the Saiyan, soon turning and facing Vegeta, who was beside him. Vegeta said, "You are more idiotic than I imagined, Kakarot," said the Saiyan in a tone a little annoyed by the lack of intelligence of his training partner and rival. Goku said, "Why are you calling me an idiot now?" asked the Saiyan without understanding why Vegeta had called him an idiot at that moment. Vegeta said, "We are Saiyans. We are a warrior race. And what do you think a legend wants with us after many years that he was sealed? What do you think he will want to do when he finds us, the last Saiyans?" said the Saiyan to Goku. Goku said, "I don't know. I don't understand." The Saiyan replied doubtfully, something that made Vegeta slap himself in the face. Bulma said, "Look, if he's a very powerful Saiyan and wants to find the other Saiyans, that can only mean that he, like you two, live wanting a real battle. Yamoshi just wants to face a Saiyan warrior who has the power of a deity, since you two have godlike powers, and he should probably think about that since you two faced Frieza and beat him," said Bulma while looking at everyone, especially her husband, who was glad that someone finally understood what he wanted to say. Vegeta said, "I thank you every day for having a smart wife, and not a dumb and stupid wife like Kakarot," said Vegeta while looking at his wife, who gave him a smile and then looked at Goku, who was annoyed at being called an idiot again by Vegeta. Goku said, "Hey, stop calling me an idiot all the time, and it would be a lot easier if you spoke at once and not get all this suspense," said the Saiyan, a little annoyed with his rival. Beerus said, "In short, Yamoshi wants to find the last Saiyans to face them. This is the simplest answer. After all, as Bulma said, he's a Saiyan, and like every Saiyan, always wants a good fight," said the God of Destruction while looking at the two Saiyans who were arguing. Whis said, "So if he's going to come after Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta, that means you two should train harder than ever, After all, he defeated Frieza with just 2 moves, and from what I saw, he didn't even use half of his strength in those 2 blows," said the angel while looking at Goku and Vegeta, who had already stopped fighting like children and were paying attention to what Whis was talking about. Goku said, "Wait, if Yamoshi is going to come after all the Saiyans, that means he's going to go after Broly too, right? Will Broly be defeated like Frieza?" asked the Saiyan while looking at everyone, especially Vegeta. Vegeta said, "If Yamoshi finds Broly, it will be a battle that will destroy the planet they are on, because Broly also faced Frieza, and Broly easily defeated Frieza," said the Prince of Saiyans to Goku. Beerus thought, "If Yamoshi finds Broly, it will be an incredible battle. After all, they both have gigantic power, and both are the ones who inspired the creation of 2 legends of the Saiyan race, and now both are active and alive as they will probably face each other," thought the God of Destruction while thinking about Broly's battle against Yamoshi, something Whis was also thinking about. Whis thought, "The legendary Super Saiyan versus the Super Saiyan God. A battle between 2 legendary beings that will make the entire universe tremble with their confrontation," Whis thought as he looked at his staff, which was scanning Universe 7, in search of finding Broly and Yamoshi's current whereabouts. Now on planet Vampa, the planet of Broly. Currently on planet Vampa, or Broly's planet, it was possible to see Broly and his companion inside the house that Goku had brought them to live, and Broly was lying in bed sleeping, and Lemo and Chirai were making plans on which planet would be next. They would go. Chirai spoke. "What is it, Lemo? What is the problem with you today? You're quieter than usual, and haven't even complained about anything all day," asked Chirai while looking at his friend. Lemo said, "It's not a big deal. It's just that earlier today, I took a look at my scouter and got a universal message that was sent to all soldiers in Mr. Frieza's army," Lemo said while looking at the white-haired woman and light green skin. Chirai spoke. "But why did you do that? You know we can't use the scouters, so we don't get tracked, Lemo," said the woman in a more altered tone of voice. After all, she and Lemo, besides Broly, were being hunted by Frieza's army. Lemo said, "I know that, Chirai, but for some reason I thought it would be an important thing. That's why I took the scouter and saw the message." Orange-skinned, older-looking Lemo spoke. Chirai said, "Well, you've already turned on the scouter, and you've seen the message, so there's no turning back." "But then, what was the message you heard?" the woman asked as she looked at her friend. Lemo said, "Apparently Frieza together with his soldiers found a type of temple or tomb of the ancient Saiyans, and inside it they found a type of black spear that was being held by some energy pillars. Seeing this, Frieza must have thought that it was a weapon or information to be used against the Saiyans and ordered them to destroy it. Only that it was not a weapon, but a Saiyan that was sealed inside the black sphere," Lemo said while looking at her friend, who was very surprised by such information and knowing that there is another Saiyan alive besides Vegeta, Goku, and Broly. Chirai said, "But who is this Saiyan?" the woman asked, who was quite curious to know who the Saiyan guy would be. Lemo said, "Apparently he is a Saiyan named Yamoshi. This Yamoshi being the first Saiyan to become a god and a legend among Saiyans." Chirai said, "So besides Broly, this Yamoshi is also a legend among the Saiyans," said the woman, very euphoric. But soon everyone's attention is turned to Broly, who had just woken up and is already leaving his house with a very serious face, something that made Chirai and Lemo look at each other and then follow the Saiyans out of their house. As soon as everyone went out of the house and the cave, Broly looked at the sky, and then Lemo and Chirai looked too, and soon the 3 came across a man flying while looking at everyone, especially Broly being that Yamoshi who was on the planet to face the Broly. Yamoshi thought, "I found the legendary Saiyan of this generation. I hope he's as strong as the one I knew in my time," the Saiyan thought as he looked at Broly, who had a serious expression on his face. Currently on the planet of the God of Destruction of the 6th universe, it was possible to see Champa in his chair, still talking to his brother Beerus through a video call, and the current God of Destruction of the 6th universe was with his concentration turned to the planet Sadala, where the battle between Cabba and Yamoshi was taking place. Beerus said, "Champa, what is happening in his universe, and why am I able to feel a divine aura emanating from his universe? But any chance, did Yamoshi turn into Super Saiyan God, and is that the energy of his?" Universe 7 God of Destruction asked his twin brother, who broke into a wide smile before talking to his brother. Champa said,
Amazing. Is his power so great that even in another universe you can feel his power and not Beerus? This divine power is not being emanated by Yamoshi, but by my Saiyan, the Cabba, said the god of destruction with a huge smile on his face. A smile of pure satisfaction to know that the Saiyan of his world is so strong that even in another universe it was possible to feel him. Beerus said, Cabba, are you talking about that skinny kid Vegeta decided to train in that tournament of ours and also participated in the tournament of power? This divine power is his? Universe 7's god of destruction spoke while looking in disbelief at his twin brother. Vados said, That's right, Sir Beerus. The power you are feeling now is Cabba's power. And just by feeling this power, I would say that Cabba managed to transform into a Super Saiyan god, just like Goku, Vegeta, and Yamoshi. Universe 6's Anja spoke to Beerus, who was even more surprised. Whis said, Cabba really is powerful for being able to transform into a Super Saiyan god without the need for the ritual to transform into a god. It's really amazing, said the surprised angel to his sister, something that left the two gods of destruction confused with Whis' words. Beerus spoke, What do you mean, Whis? Cabba managed to become a Super Saiyan god without the need for the ritual. I thought this was impossible, and the only way for a Saiyan to become a god was through the ritual, said the god of destruction, confused as he looked at his angel. Whis said, I kind of figured out that ritual isn't the only way for the Saiyan to become a god. Apparently, Saiyans can become gods through ritual or fighting a god, and through combat, they kind of end up getting in contact with divine energy, and it causes them to transform into their divine forms, and that must have been what happened to Cabba. Whis explains to the two gods of destruction, who now understood why Cabba had gained a giant increase in his powers with your new transformation. Champa spoke, Did you hear that, Beerus? My Saiyan ended up turning into a god without having to do a ritual like Goku, and that just shows that my Saiyans have much more potential than yours. And in a short time they will overcome Goku and Vegeta, and that brawly guy that will also be defeated by my Saiyans. The god of destruction spoke, bragging about the strength of his Saiyans that he faithfully believed would someday surpass the Saiyans of his brother Beerus' universe. Beerus said, Don't count on it, Champa. My Saiyans right now are training to defeat Yamoshi. Even though your Saiyan has great power now, she still won't be able to face Yamoshi, because Yamoshi was just joking in all his fights, and it was few times that he fought seriously. And you need to know that Yamoshi at this very moment doesn't. He's fighting with his 100% power. Even though he says he is fighting seriously, he really is not. Universe 7, God of Destruction, spoke with a very serious expression as he looked at his brother, who was quite surprised as he looked at Vados. Champa said, So that damn Yamoshi has more power? More than shit! Vados, prepare to bring Cabba, Cauliflower, and Kale. In fact, go immediately to planet Sadala and bring Kefla's body. I haven't felt her energy and it's been a while, and that means she is dead. And this must be one of the triggers that made Cabba transform into Super Saiyan God for the first time, ordered the god of destruction to his Anja. Vados spoke, Yes, Sir Champa, I will go as ordered immediately. Due to the current circumstances, I will have to go after Cabba, because Cauliflower and Kale had to be close to Cabba, so I'm already leaving. And from now on, I will say goodbye to you too. Until another day, Mr. Beerus, and until our reunion, my brother Whis, said Vados, soon bowing to Champa and quickly doing the same to Beerus, who was watching the two of them. Whis said, I say the same, my sister. Go and help your Saiyans, and don't try to face Yamoshi, because I think he had a way to defeat us, the angels, or make us weak, so don't face him. Do you understand, sister? Whis spoke to his sister in a way worried about his sister's well-being, and mainly because he didn't know what Yamoshi was capable of, because Whis felt that Yamoshi could defeat an angel somehow. Vados said, So you also felt this strange feeling towards him. I felt it the moment you revealed his name, but even knowing all this, you shouldn't worry, my brother. I know how to defend myself, and I won't be defeated by a Saiyan like this Yamoshi. Now I must go after my universe's trio of Saiyans, so I say goodbye. Vados said to his brother, calming him down and then saying goodbye to everyone, and then disappearing into a small pillar of light that had a mixture of colors of violet and light blue. Champa said, Beerus, you already know that even if Cabba uses all this new power, he won't be strong enough to defeat Yamoshi, right? Asked the god of destruction while looking at his twin brother. Beerus said, I'm sure of it, Champa, but maybe Cabba is strong enough to hurt Yamoshi, and make him fight for real. Don't get me wrong, Champa, but I wish Cabba makes Yamoshi fight seriously so that we can get a sense of what his true strength is like. the god of destruction spoke to his brother, and then the two of them heaved a heavy sigh. Whis said, "Sir Champa, I recommend that after you bring Cabba, Cauliflower, and Kale, you two train them, so that when Yamoshi is unprepared, we will make a final attack using the power of all Saiyans of Universe 6 and 7 against Yamoshi. All the strongest Saiyans against the one who was the first to reach the rank of Super Saiyan God," said the angel, leaving the two gods of destruction surprised by the plan Whis had created. Champa said, "While you Beerus train your Saiyans, I will train my Saiyans. But the question at hand is, while we do that, what will Yamoshi do during this time?" asked the god of destruction while looking at his brother Whis. Beerus said, "He won't be doing nothing for a long time. If he gets bored and comes to try to do something against one of our universes, you and I will face him, and that way we'll buy time for our Saiyans to evolve. And whether they like it or not, I know that we won't be the winners, because the god of Saiyans can only be defeated by another Saiyan." Beerus spoke in an extremely serious tone, while looking at his brother, who had a similar expression to his. Champa said, "I would like to say that you are exaggerating, Beerus, but I know this is the purest truth, and it makes me very angry. A mortal making two gods of destruction unite to face him, and still not being strong enough to defeat him. Whis, when Vados comes back, contact her and let her know about it. Meanwhile, I'll keep an eye on Yamoshi, ensuring he doesn't leave my universe. And if he tries to leave, I'll let you know immediately, so that Whis and Vados close the portal and trapping the Yamoshi between the two universes with me and Beerus, because there we can fight seriously without ending up affecting the other universes," Champa said while looking at his brother, and then at the angel next to him, while nodded positively to Universe 6's god of destruction. Now on planet Sadala. Currently on the planet Sadala, where the Saiyans of the 6th universe inhabited, it was possible to see Cabba with his Super Saiyan God form, looking at Yamoshi, who had his injuries being healed at high speed due to the regeneration abilities, and he was in his base form with none of the transformations active until that time. Yamoshi said, "Did you say that today would be the end of me? Will you be the one to defeat me and prove that the Saiyans in your universe are superior? And will you be the one to defeat the first Saiyan turned God?" Yamoshi spoke as he stood up and his wounds disappeared, and if you listen carefully, you could hear his bones returning to normal as he completely regenerated. Yamoshi said, "I must say you surprised me, boy. Transforming into a god, just by feeling and absorbing divine energy, is something that is almost impossible to achieve, and that must be why your power has increased so greatly. That would be worrying for you. Me? But the stronger my opponent, the better things get for me. So let me see if you have all the power it takes to fight me for real. Show me the power of the one who said he would defeat the Saiyan legend. Show me everything you said wasn't just a bluff," said Yamoshi as he finished getting up on his face. He had a very big and wide smile, showing how excited the Saiyan was with the battle. Cabba spoke, "Do you want me to show you my power? Don't worry, I'll do it. But you won't like it too much, because I'll end up killing you. Dying in combat is something all of us Saiyans want. This is honorable, something you don't deserve, but you will have it today. That will be the end of you," said the Saiyan, soon making his divine aura slightly more intense, but it was enough to create a small crater around the place where he was. Yamoshi said, "Great, we've been talking for a while now, so it's time for our fist to speak for us," said the Saiyan, soon raising his power and transforming into Super Saiyan 1. Even raising his power, Cabba didn't feel fear or chills like he had the first time. Yamoshi, after transforming and realizing that Cabba hasn't been afraid of the power increase or his transformation into Super Saiyan 1, as had happened before, this only made Yamoshi even happier, as fearful opponents made him bored, but brave opponents and without fear were perfect opponents for him. Yamoshi had a feeling of happiness knowing that Cabba possessed great power and was not afraid. He advanced towards Cabba, who didn't even move at the sight of Yamoshi's movements. Soon after Yamoshi appeared in front of Cabba, he tried to punch the Saiyan, and Yamoshi ended up hitting Cabba in the face. But the detail was that his fist went through Cabba's face, because in the same second, Cabba disappeared, and when Yamoshi turned, he saw Cabba, thus staring from a few feet away. Yamoshi thought, "What incredible speed. At the same moment I tried to punch him, he moved so fast that it created an illusionary image, and that's what I hit. In reality, Cabba wasn't in that place anymore." The Saiyan thought, impressed by Cabba's speed. because of creating a delayed image that showed how fast Cabba was, as fast as light or higher. Cabba, who just looked at Yamoshi until that moment, Cabba decided to make his move. Then the Saiyan puts himself in a posture similar to that of a boxer and punches the air. Yamoshi, seeing this, found it strange until he felt something approaching him, making him jump to the side. But it was too late. Yamoshi ended up feeling something hitting his arm and breaking it completely at the same moment. Cabba said, "Looks like one of the skills I asked Mr. Hit to teach me was worth it. Even though I don't really like using his assassin skills, they were very useful to kill you, Yamoshi," said the Saiyan with an empty expression, but still conveying anger, hatred, repulsion, disgust of Yamoshi, who got angry with that. Yamoshi said, "You caught me off guard this time, brat. Don't think too much, because this time it was pure luck, and you won't be that lucky again," said Yamoshi as he held his injured arm, which in a matter of seconds completely regenerated, causing his arm bones to return to normal and his muscles to rebuild. Cabba said, "Lucky? Let's see if that's true. Because the only truth is that you're too slow for someone who considers himself a god," spoke Cabba, snubbing Yamoshi's slowness. Because of Cabba's words, Yamoshi charged at Cabba, who once again stood still, and Yamoshi started attacking Cabba with several punches and kicks, in addition to firing some ki blasts. But none of this was effective against Cabba, who didn't take any damage, as Yamoshi hadn't even landed a hit on Cabba. Yamoshi, seeing that he wasn't fast enough to reach Cabba, Yamoshi backed away a little and raised his power, transforming into a Super Saiyan 2, and advanced once again towards Cabba. But even with that strength, Yamoshi was not able to hit Cabba, until Yamoshi, in an increase of anger, managed to punch Cabba very hard. But after Cabba received the attack, he just turned his face to the same place where Yamoshi's fist was seen. Yamoshi tries to get away from Cabba, but the Saiyan punches Yamoshi in the stomach, creating a hole in his stomach with such force that Cabba punches it, and then Yamoshi falls into the ground in a matter of seconds. Cabba said, "Sorry, I think I used too much force in that attack. I wanted to just throw you away with my punch, but I ended up creating a hole in your stomach. So 1,000 pardons, great Yamoshi, the god of Saiyans." Cabba spoke clearly with a mocking tone in his voice, something that annoyed Yamoshi a lot, who was on the floor with a hole in his stomach, which started to regenerate and close the hole in his stomach. Yamoshi said, "Does an insect like you really think he can despise me?" talking with that mocking tone in his voice. "I'm Yamoshi, the first Saiyan to become a god, and I'm the strongest Saiyan between Universe 6 and Universe 7, and I won't be killed by a brat like you," said Yamoshi as he raised his energy, turning his body into gold, turning into a burning aura. Meanwhile, his stomach regenerated faster. Yamoshi said, "You little shit. Do you really think someone like you can defeat me? I will show you why I am the true and only god of Saiyans," said the Saiyan, releasing his power, causing a large amount of divine energy to be released, and his stomach with all this energy release ended up regenerating completely. At that moment, Yamoshi had turned into a Super Saiyan god, making his hair turn red, and his eyes red in a darker tone, and in front of him was Cabba with a similar appearance. But Cabba had an aura of lighter flames, and his hair and eyes were brighter than Yamoshi's, which were a blue hue. Yamoshi said, "Let's see if now, with me, fighting more seriously, you will continue with your fucking arrogance," said Yamoshi, making his eyes sparkle, and soon both Saiyans released a large amount of energy that ended up destroying everything around them, something that made Cabba worry about the Saiyans of his planet Sadala. Cabba thought, "If he and I fight on this planet, it will be destroyed only by the energy of both of us, and that will end up killing all the inhabitants. So I have to take him as far away from this planet as possible. And with that I can fight without worrying. With the planet Sadala or with its inhabitants," thought the Saiyan as he saw the result of the clash of Yamoshi and Cabba's energies. Yamoshi without further ado enters the combat stance, but something left him very confused when Cabba started to fly away from that place, and going out of the planet, watching that Yamoshi was confused and at the same time angry, and by that impulse he took it and flew towards Cabba. And soon all the Saiyans of the planet Sadala saw only two light red sunbeams and another dark one coming out of the planet. And it didn't take long for Cabba to arrive in the middle of space to find a planet far away from the planet Sadala, and that didn't have any living being living there. And on that planet, Cabba landed and looked forward to where Yamoshi was, who ended up landing on this planet too. And they both started to face each other, and soon the battle was started between the Super Saiyan God of Universe 6 and the Super Saiyan God of Universe 7.
In Universe 7. Currently in a place far away from planet Earth, it was possible to see a very large planet, and in it was possible to see several craters of destruction that was caused by a very intense battle between Goku, Vegeta, and Broly, who were facing each other as a form of training. Goku was using his Super Saiyan Blue transformation with Kaioken 10X, Vegeta was using his Super Saiyan Blue Shinka form, and Broly was using his newly mastered Super Saiyan 2 transformation. The battle between the three Saiyans was very intense, because in the place where they were training, a trail of destruction was left, and all this training they were doing was to overcome the power of Yamoshi. Broly, now possessing his new Super Saiyan 2 transformation, was stronger than ever, being able to take on Goku and Vegeta at the same time, and was able to hold off almost all of the two Saiyans' attacks. But soon the trio's training is over when Whis and Beerus appear on the scene, and Whis slams his staff on the ground, attracting the attention of the three Saiyans in the place. Whis says, "I believe you've trained enough for now, but now all of you come here. Mr. Beerus and I need to talk to all three of you." The angel spoke in a more serious tone, and soon the three Saiyans returned to their normal form and stood in front of Whis and Beerus. Vegeta said, "What is it, Whis? Is it something important to you that you got in the way of our training? Even more so now that we were getting somewhere with our training," said the Prince of the Saiyans to the angel, but Beerus soon replied, "Yes, that's very important. We've been wondering where Yamoshi was the whole time, and we finally managed to find out where the bastard is," said the God of Destruction while looking seriously at Vegeta. Goku said, "And where is he? And why did he disappear so suddenly? I thought he wanted to defeat us, Saiyans, but he suddenly disappeared without leaving any trace of his energy," said the Saiyan, curious to know where Yamoshi was during the whole time they were recovering and training. Whis said, "At the time we were looking for Yamoshi, he managed to find a way to invade another universe, and to be more precise, he's currently in Universe 6, said the angel, leaving everyone surprised, except Vegeta, who ended up getting angry with Yamoshi. Vegeta said, "What do you mean Yamoshi is in Universe 6? If he's there, that means he's going to..." Beerus says, "That's right, Vegeta. He went after the Saiyans of the 6th universe. In fact, at this very moment, he must be fighting Cabba." The God of Destruction spoke to the three Saiyans on the spot. Such words made Vegeta even more angry, and at the same time worried about his disciple. Vegeta said, "Cabba is fighting Yamoshi. That idiot will die if he fights him. I don't know, maybe even if Kefla couldn't defeat him. Yamoshi, imagine Cabba. He's strong, but Yamoshi is a monster compared to him," said the Saiyan while thinking about his disciple's life that could die in the hands of Yamoshi, something that made Vegeta feel a rage that he hadn't felt in a long time. Goku said, "Maybe if Caulifla and Kale merge and Kefla and Cabba fight together, they'll be able to escape the battle. Even though I know their strength, I don't think they're strong enough to defeat Yamoshi. After all, not even me and Vegeta couldn't. And look, even though we were merged and we had great power in our hands, and even so, we lost ourselves to Yamoshi," said the Saiyan, putting some points in the conversation. Some points that made it clear that the only thing that the Saiyans of Universe 6 could do was run away. Broly, who until that moment was just listening to the conversation, but he realized that when he said Kefla, Beerus and Whis' name, they gained a more serious and sad expression at the same time. Broly said, "Why did you two get more serious when saying the name of this Kefla person?" asked the legendary Saiyan to Beerus and Whis, thus making Goku and Vegeta look at them, waiting for an answer that soon came from Beerus' mouth, before letting out a heavy sigh. Goku said, "Sir Beerus, what happened to Kefla?" asked the Saiyan to the God of Destruction, who just lowered his head before lifting her up and starting to speak. Beerus said, "Caulifla, Kale, and Cabba ended up meeting with Yamoshi, and they had to fight. Caulifla and Kale couldn't face Yamoshi and even merged to become Kefla. During the fight, Yamoshi ended up killing Kefla, breaking her neck, and killing it. It's over there." The God of Destruction spoke in a more serious tone. Goku said, "Does that mean Kale and Caulifla are dead? More than shit," said the Saiyan angrily when remembering the two Saiyans from Universe 6, where he fought her in the Tournament of Power. Vegeta said, "If Kefla was killed, does that mean Cabba died too?" asked the Saiyan when he looked desperately at Whis and Beerus, and before they could answer, Vegeta ends up releasing some energy from destruction, making everyone move away from him. Vegeta, even always looking like someone cold and who doesn't care about anyone, he did have a kind of instinct to protect who he likes, and even though he didn't show, he liked Cabba when he learned that Kefla had been killed by Yamoshi, made the Saiyan imagine the scene of Yamoshi going through Cabba's chest while his disciple was asking him for help, and such an image made Vegeta reach the peak of fury, causing a large amount of energy of destruction to come out of his body. And after all that energy release, it was possible to see Vegeta completely different, with an aura similar to Super Saiyan Blue, only with another color, and his hair and eyes also changed to purple, with a violet tone. That being Vegeta's new transformation in the form of a Saiyan, who has the power of a god of destruction. Vegeta had just become Universe 7's next god of destruction in the eyes of Beerus and Whis. Beerus thought, so, he finally made it. Vegeta has finally managed to unleash the power of a Hakaishin, thought Beerus with a smile on his face as he looked at Vegeta's new transformation. Back in Universe 6 with Cabba and Yamoshi. Currently in the 6th universe on a very distant and lifeless planet, it was possible to see Yamoshi and Cabba with their divine forms. Exchanging several punches and kicks, and the previously intact planet was now almost being destroyed completely due to the powerful blows of the two Saiyans. Yamoshi, who was now facing Cabba, both were facing each other with a giant intensity, both of which were well injured, but Cabba was one of the most injured, different from Yamoshi as he had a good regeneration. Yamoshi thought, this guy is very strong, but I'm feeling his divine power waning, so I think it's time for me to use that, thought the Saiyan with a smile on his face. In a quick movement, Yamoshi manages to punch Cabba, and then a kick throws him away, and then Yamoshi starts gathering energy in his eyes. Cabba, after recovering from Yamoshi's attack, he advances towards Yamoshi, and Cabba, without realizing that Yamoshi was gathering energy in his eyes, approached Yamoshi. When Cabba realized what was happening, it was too late. Yamoshi said, "This battle ends here. Eyes of extinction." Yamoshi yells, releasing a gigantic energy charge from his eyes. The attack was of a planetary scale, and in this way the planet they were on ended up being completely destroyed. And not only him, but 5 other planets that were in that solar system. Yamoshi said, "That was an amazing battle, really, and I would like to face him again, but I don't think he survived that attack. Anyway, promise is a promise. It was a good battle, and for that I will not destroy the planet Sadala, and I hope that in a few centuries, someone like him will be born," said Yamoshi, returning to his normal form, and then putting on his bracelet, returning to his older appearance, and soon he started to wander around the universe. In another location, it was possible to see Cabba floating with his body surrounded by divine energy, which was responsible for preventing Cabba's death, and who protected Cabba with this energy was Vados, who was in front of him. Vados said, "That was almost. Looks like I'm going to have to train you to master your divine Cabba power, and we should start this training soon. But first I'll bring those two back to life," said the Anja, soon removing Caulifla and Kale's bodies from inside her staff that were still dead.
Back to the Universe 7. Whis spoke. We need to find a way to deal with Yamoshi without destroying half the universe in the process. Because from the information I have, things are bad, and I have a better idea than to just fight him. Goku said, "A better idea? What could be better than a good fight?" Whis said, "Do you remember Mafuba? The technique Trunks used to try and seal Goku black. We can use it against Yamoshi." Vegeta said, "Mafuba, I wanted to fight Yamoshi. I don't like the idea of sealing him." Beerus replied, "I agree with Vegeta. Fighting is much more fun than using an old and risky technique." Whis said, "I understand his points of view, but think about the consequences of a full battle against Yamoshi. He is incredibly powerful. With Mafuba, we can avoid unnecessary destruction." Goku said, "Whis is right. Let's try Mafuba. If it doesn't work, then we fight." Beerus replied, "Okay, Whis, let's do it your way. But if something goes wrong, you will be responsible." Whis said, "Great! With Vados' help, we will quickly locate Yamoshi. We need to act quickly and accurately." With Vados' help, they locate Yamoshi and come up with a plan. Vegeta distracts Yamoshi with a quick battle while Goku prepares Mafuba. Vegeta said, "Hey Yamoshi, let's see if you're as strong as you say you are." Yamoshi said, Vegeta, the Prince of Saiyans, did you come here to get beaten again? Ha ha ha. While Vegeta fights Yamoshi, Goku prepares Mafuba. In a moment of distraction, Goku manages to capture Yamoshi in the jar. Goku said, Mafuba! The jug sucks up Yamoshi, but they realize they forgot the seal to finish the process. Whis said, no, we forgot the seal. Vados quickly creates a makeshift seal and places it on the jar, sealing Yamoshi. Goku said, we did it! Cabba spoke. Now that everything is over, we need to gather the Dragon Balls to bring everything back to normal. Beerus replied, we will release you very soon, Yamoshi, as soon as things return to normal. You need to be defeated in an honest way. Vegeta said, I agree, Yamoshi. We will fight for real, but for now, stay sealed. Guys, this is how the story ends, with a possible promise of Yamoshi's return, sealed for eternity, but awaiting a fair fight in the future. So for those who like the content on this channel, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to leave your comment, which is very important for the channel. So I'll see you in the next video, guys, so bye.